Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. I'm here with my uncle, Coach Dave, coming off the Cowboys, another sloppy defeat, 2017, to the Washington Redskins at FedEx Field. This is actually my first guest I ever had on this channel. You know, it feels like, you know, here we are a year later. I think our first video was the Green Bay game last year.
Yep.
And it's funny because there's a recurring theme that we're going to touch on here. In that video, we talked about, you know, the late game collapse, and that was more of a defensive issue then. But ultimately, it came back to our frustrations with this coaching staff and the head coach. And today, I'm just going to come out and say it, Coach. Jason Garrett needs to be fired. Okay, and I've been saying this. I was early on the bandwagon, if you will, but at this point in time, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of every game, this emotional roller coaster that this team has put us on. I'm sick of the fact that we can come out 1 week and score 40 points and look great at home, but we can't get anything going. I'm sick of the fact that they can come out and have the nerve to tell us that they had a meeting to fix everything and nothing has been fixed. Zilch. And you entered the fourth quarter, you know, with 7 points, and you get you're mustering up some things to get going. Right. I'm sick of the fact that we have allegedly an offensive-minded head coach, but our offense sucks. Okay, it sucks. Unless the quarterback's running around with it like a chicken with his head cut off, and Cole Beasley's able to win some one-on-ones. I mean, we have some pieces, but our offense as a whole is trash. So you tell me what you think. I'm frustrated right now, and it's.
Well, you know as well as I know, the team takes on the identity of the coach. When the coach stands there and claps when we make a mistake, the team's going to understand, I'm not really going to get in trouble if I jump off sides. I mean, the penalties, the mistakes are the same ones every single week. Every single week. And it just seems like they're not being corrected. I don't know what the game plan goes in every week, what they're doing during the week time, but it just seems like they're not really getting on the guys. Say, hey, look, you jumped off sides 3 times last week. We're going to have to correct. It's the same stuff every single week.
And I touched on the penalty issues in my preview video. We you know, me and my boy Brandon, we did a Redskins Cowboys preview, and I said, hey, Lael Collins, all these guys, we've had issues with penalties the last few weeks, even in victories. We got to get that stuff cleaned up, offensive line. We see Connor Williams with 2 massive penalties. Forget that. I told y'all the way we start the game is normally indicative of how we're going to play the rest of the day. And what happens? We're in a 3rd and 6. Dak Prescott scrambles for 22 yards, gets called back for Tyron Smith holding penalty, and all, you know, that's how our afternoon goes, right? You know, we had so many big plays today, or just conversions, nullified by penalties. And yes, you know what? That goes in conjunction with your offensive line getting their ass whooped today. Because a lot of guys are holding on for dear life because they're getting beat at the point of attack. They're getting blown into the backfield. The lack of the threat of your passing game is allowing the Redskins and other teams that play you, they do this every week, to commit more resources at the line of scrimmages. That's why I thought what Jacksonville did was idiotic, because they tried to play us straight up when all they really needed to do was just commit a few more extra people. They probably would have been fine too. So it's frustrating. And then we get into the game management stuff, Coach. Oh my God. We have a timeout. Thank you, Alex Smith, for running out of bounds. We get the timeout. All we need is we have to get in the field goal range.
Field goal range. That's it.
Give me your thoughts on that how that last drive was managed. Ultimately, Brent Maher missing the 52-yard field goal.
Well, you could tell right away that they were just in the mode of just kicking a field goal.
Trying to tie
the game. They were not trying to win that ball game. With, just as you said, with 52 seconds left and a timeout, we should take a few shots down the field, try to see if we can win the game first. If not, we have a great field goal kicker. We were going to get in range. They had some momentum going, but it just the play calling, the situational play calling is what's doing us in every single week. If you play to win but end up with a field goal, I can live with that. The reason why they were where they were is because they weren't playing to win.
No.
They were satisfied with just running a couple of plays. What did they say? They ran 2 plays in 52 seconds?
They ran 2 more plays for 6 yards before the long snapper gets the 5-yard, whatever the penalty was they call. It's not even that they lost the game. I mean, I'm mad they lost the game.
Right.
But it's the manner in which these things happen.
Right.
Seemingly every other week now, because we've had home away. But just seemingly, there's no consistency.
None whatsoever. None.
Things seem to get corrected one week, and then we're back to where we were. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And again, like you said, the identity of the coaches and just, you know, they got to be in guys' ears. We got to get our tempo up. Right. And they're just, you know, lollygagging around.
Right.
That tells me that's what your 2-minute drill looks like in practice.
During
the week. Because if you're going to come out there, like you said, play to win the game.
Right.
Play to win the game. Or at least if you're content with kicking a field goal, get closer.
Get as many yards as you can.
You know, because now you've given yourself no margin of error. Right. Even the 47-yard field goal that you're content with.
Right.
It's still, you know, with our kicker, and I'm not going to blame the game on Brett Maher by any means. I believe he was thrown off by the penalty, and then it wasn't a horrible kick. That kick would have been good from 47. But when you get thrown off by a random procedural penalty, it just throws everything off. And he didn't get up off as good a kick as he normally does, where he kicks it straight down the pipe. But, you know, again, his team, this it seems like we have 2 different teams going.
Right.
You know, we're not a collective complementary unit. Another week where the defense plays well enough to win. The defense only allowed 13 points today.
Correct.
And we didn't win the football game. So who is that on? Who is that on? To me, ultimately, it's got to be a top-down thing. And look, Jerry's not going to change. And that's what I'm saying. Ultimately, they're not going to do what I want them to do. But if there's ever a time to fire the head coach and send the messages now.
Right now.
Going into the bye week, you don't play it again until, I believe, November 5th on Monday night. Like, I mean, come on, guys. It's absurd. Every single week, you know, we're going through this circus. This offensive line's not as good as it once was. It's a shame. Tyron Smith struggled today in space. Lael Collins struggled today in space. Connor Williams, you know, he had a bad matchup with Jonathan Allen.
Right,
He's a bad boy. Those of y'all who saw him play Alabama, but still, like, just across the board. I mean, can you talk about the run game? What's going on? I mean, you know, Zeke Elliott, 34 yards, 15 carries.
I think a lot of it is the same formations, the same runs. I mean, we're calling out the direction of the play, and we're watching it on TV. If we're calling out the play before the ball's even snapped, you can imagine what the defense already knows and stuff. They're not being creative with Zeke. They're lining them up in the same spot. Stretch play right, stretch play left. But we know what's coming. Well, the defense knows what's coming.
Sure.
They're stacking the box. They're not. If you want to stack the box on Zeke, I get it. He's a great running back. So now we're going to have to come up with alternative plays to get him open. If you want to put him wide out, put him out in space, that's fine.
They tried to throw one ball to him in the end zone. It was slightly underthrown. He wasn't able to make a play on it. But I don't see enough of that. I mean, he only had 2 catches today for 9 yards. You know, you see other guys like a Melvin Gordon who didn't play today, and that pissed me off because I had him in fantasy and didn't tell me. But you see other guys around the league, like if they have Gurley, if they get nullified in the ground game, they'll still somehow get 8 catches for 60, 70. Still getting their touches and getting the efficient touches, right?
Right.
Hey, you know, like I said, you know, Ryan Clark was just giving a breakdown to how the Redskins were utilizing DJ Swearinger as the extra guy in the box, and he had a hell of a day.
Him up in the box.
He had an incredible game today. He brought a lot of juice and energy, especially early in the game with the turnover on Dak Prescott on the quarterback sneak. But to me, there's a remedy to every defense.
Correct.
There's a remedy to every defense in terms of from a schematic standpoint. And the Cowboys just, you know, when something works, I said this last week, we have a habit of when something does work, we will ourselves go away from it.
Right.
We don't let the defense take it away from it. For example, Michael Gallup hit him with the double move. Touchdown. Easy money.
Never did it again.
We kind of tried to do it again, but that was what the play when Dak fumbled the ball and they score. And look, Dak missed a lot of throws today. And when I say a lot of throws, he missed opportunities to throw the ball for big plays, as Tony Romo illustrated, in some of the graphics. But he battled today. Honestly, I thought he had a concussion.
I think he did too. I think he did too. When you're walking on the field with smelling salt in your hand,
yeah,
that's a telltale.
And I've seen him do the smelling salt thing a lot, but I think it's funny, and I think the influence of TV is very interesting because I think they called down and said, "Hey, this is not a good look from an NFL perspective. That he hasn't." Y'all just came and had a conversation with him and then walked away. Yes. And I think as the cameras start rolling and social media is buzzing in, it's like, hey, let's at least put up the blue tent and act like we're
like we did go through concussion protocol.
And again, it would have been a disaster if Cooper Rush came in that game. Just telling y'all that right now.
We don't even want to go.
We don't want to go down that route because, like I've said many times on the channel, we do not have a backup quarterback, but. Dak Prescott battled today. He used his legs when he absolutely had to. He made some plays. To me, he played well enough, even though the pass protection was awful at times. And he had no run support today. So, there's only so much you can do. It sucks, though, losing to a Redskins team. No Paul Richardson. No Jamison Crowder. No Chris Thompson. They're throwing the guy like Michael Floyd hadn't caught a pass all year. You see Brian Quick out here. There's certain plays where it's like you get the Redskins in 3rd and 11. All they could throw was tunnel screen or bubble, and we let them off. We
let them off the hook.
We let them off the hook, man.
We let them off the hook.
That's why I'm like,
that's all coaching.
That's coaching, man.
That's all coaching.
Because Jay Gruden came into that game with hardly any personnel.
None.
But he put together a good run package for Adrian Peterson. That was effective, even though we held their points down.
Right.
They were timely in moving the chains. He had some good little option stuff for Alex.
100 yards rushing.
Yeah. So it's just like, Jason, we got to account for that stuff. All that. You're the head coach. Your keeping people, like you said, keeping people accountable on their P's and Q's. Forget the clock management stuff. Forget the 4th and 1 decisions or when to go for it, when not to go for it.
Right.
The fact that this team is so heavily penalized is a direct indicator of coaching. When the team comes out in the 3rd quarter and has 4 yards.
4. That's it.
That's coaching. Because I always say you got to look at the 3rd quarter is very indicative of how are the coaches now adjusting to the game? Now that we've seen some things and we have some time to debrief as a staff and as a team, what are we going to how do we shape this thing? And we come back out and get 4 yards. And look, part of the reason why is because Jay Gruden refused to take a shot with Alex Smith, or else the game's probably over anyway.
Right, exactly.
So they kind of, and then Alex Smith runs out of bounds. So they let us off the hook in a lot of cases for us to even be in position to have the ball. And we don't take advantage. Coming out of this game, the conversation should have been, hey, we either we play in overtime.
Right.
We steal the game from them. But the heat is now been taken off of Alex Smith and Jay Gruden for how they managed that last series. Because
they didn't play to win.
They didn't play to win. But we're more inept than they are. And it's funny because coming into this game, it was really billed as and correctly so, a battle of 2 teams that are Jekyll and Hyde. And, our Jekyll and Hyde energy is stronger than their Jekyll and Hyde.
It's way stronger. You put up 40 points the week before against a very good defense. A pretty good defense. They have one of the best defensive backs in Jalen.
Their whole secondary
is excellent, and we just torch them. And then you turn right around a divisional opponent, given everything that was at stake here. We could have took the lead in the NFC.
Now we're 2 games back.
Now we're 2 games back, and we're going into our bye week. I mean, we take the lead in division, and we're going to a bye week. Get guys rest, the whole 9. And we come right back healthy, ready to go. But
they're not going to do it. But again, with this, and the reason why I make a coaching change is because of the way the defense is playing. This defense has played well enough to win, in my opinion, in every game we've played this year.
Oh yes,
every game we've played this year, we've been in the football game because of this defense.
They play lights out every single week.
And for you to have an offensive-minded head coach, a guy that used to be an offensive coordinator. And again, they showed the graphic today. Their third down percentage, they're 30th in the league at a 31%.
There's only 32 teams in the league.
Awful. That is awful.
With the best running back in football.
Best running back in football. And yes, you've only gotten, let's say, average quarterback play. And at times the quarterback has struggled. But today, again, offensive line, the whole thing, and I've said this over and over again, the passing game is broken.
Correct.
And it's the offense, I mean, to a certain degree is broken because it's affected your run game so heavily when that shouldn't be the case.
But here's my whole question. What are you going to do when you come back on Tuesday? They probably take off on Monday.
Yeah, get their treatment and all that.
Get their treatment and stuff and back on the field on Tuesday. What are you going to do? What's going to be your game plan to correct all this stuff? Are you going to get into the film sessions? Are you going to get on guys? Look, I mean, literally.
Well, you're going to have another meeting? I mean, about how to fix the road stuff? I don't know what you do. I really don't because...
Oh, I know what you do. You go out and find you a young, energetic head coach that's going to hold people accountable to do their job. You jump off sides, you're going to pay for it. You hold this, and cost us this play right here, which happened today. You're going to be penalized for it. We can go back to the Jimmy Johnson era. You jumped off sides, you had to pay, I think it was like $100 for every penalty or whatever.
You actually paid a fine.
You had to pay a fine for making a mistake, and it just kept people accountable. You missed practice, you're not playing. You missed it. I mean, it just held people accountable, and they played up to their potential. We do not have that right now. We don't have a head coach that's holding people accountable, and they're not afraid. They're not afraid to make mistakes. That's why they do it. If they were afraid of losing their job, they wouldn't be doing some of the stuff that they're doing. So my whole, I just want to see
attention to detail.
Exactly. I want to see what these guys. I literally wish I could go to their practice all week long and literally see what are you doing Tuesday through Sunday. Are you guys watching game film? Or what's the game plan for this week?
Because I know I know that they know that people are just parking their safety in the box. And you have wide receivers on this team coming out and saying certain things about how they're open and some of that is valid. But we also have plays today where you guys have opportunity to make tough contested catches, dropping the football. Guys, even Thompson, the ball hitting him in between the numbers. I mean, it's just, and then when we do get open, we don't throw it or what have you. It's such a struggle to execute. And quite frankly, my frustrations again come from how the mishandlings of an opportunity to steal a game. Right. Because to me, good coaching sometimes can get you 2 or 3 games you shouldn't have got.
Coaches can win you some games.
And they can lose you some games. And so in this particular case, the Redskins executed better than we did, I would say. Right. For 3.5 quarters. Correct. They executed better. Now, did they execute to the point where they obviously if they pulled ahead a couple scores, but we were able to come right back. Right. But again, if you have good coaching, they're able to kind of steal some of those games.
They real good coaching, especially at the end of when we got the ball back, when Alex Smith did what he did. Real good coaches would have won that game. They would have we have a timeout left. And we have all this time.
A minute and 20 seconds, whatever they have.
And we have such a great kicker. Okay, well, you know what? We're going to play to win. But if we end up with a field goal, we go into overtime. That's a plus. Mm-hmm. That is a plus because the way we've played this whole time.
Yeah, we got the momentum on our side. We're not even supposed to be here right now.
Exactly.
So it's just,
It's very frustrating to see the talent that we have and just no execution. No execution. We can sit here and talk about, get mad at a player for dropping the ball, this, that. But if the coaches are not correcting that during the week.
And he's the common denominator. I'm sorry. But Brett Maher, this is his first year here. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott have only been here 3 years. Jason Garrett has been the offensive coordinator, highest paid 2007 to 2010. He takes over. We've been complaining about this offense and the predictability. Now we don't have Romo to cover it up with his brain anymore. Right. But it's and he took a lot of subtle shots at this offense during the broadcast.
You could hear him.
You could hear him. Even when he talked about that Redskins game in 2013 where he was like, yeah, they wanted to get up there and run the ball 3 straight times, and I told him I wanted to throw it. Just little subtle. He took a subtle jab at them during that last drive. During that he was like, "Wow, you guys should be able to get a couple shots."
Exactly.
Up. But
exactly.
So even former players and stuff, and we'll have Jason Witten on the broadcast when we play the Titans, I believe, on Monday night or whatever. But it's one thing after another, and as a fan, I know this has kind of turned into a vent session, if you will, Coach. But I appreciate it, and y'all let me know in the comments your thoughts, your frustrations. If I'm off base, if you're still Team Garrett and you want to see this thing play out, I'm very rarely against end season firings, very very rare, because but at this point the defense is still playing well.
The defense is
still playing well, and the fact that even with the Redskins going to 4-2, this division is very winnable.
It's wide open. This
division is very winnable. But if you're going to continue to have those type of performances, you guys are going to go 8-8 and nothing. And then what's they going to do? Resign Jason Garrett? What happens then? So I don't know, Coach
Jerry Jones. Throw a lot of money at Romo. Bring him in as OC. And we'll be fine.
I would love to get Romo. I know he's comfortable. I know he's comfortable up there, and he doesn't have the stressors of the day-to-day.
I totally agree with that.
So and he has a young family. But I've always said, like, we go have a conversation with Sean Payton. No, there's no rule saying you can't go after another team's head coach.
That too.
You're the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
I'm serious. You can go have a conversation with somebody like a Sean Payton and say, look, because that's who I always kind of wanted when he was here.
Right.
And kind of taking over from the and obviously things went sideways, but
with Bill.
Yeah, but I'm serious, man. Like those are the type of conversations I like to see happen, at least in the offseason.
Right.
For the time being, like if they want to make somebody like a Chris Richard a head coach, because you see him on the sideline. He holds his guys accountable.
Yes.
You see a blown coverage, somebody's getting cussed out.
He is on them.
He'll throw the clipboard. He'll slap a guy.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
Throw a cleat. Who knows?
Exactly.
Knock over the Gatorade cooler.
But that's why they play the way they play. Even a defensive coordinator.
Look how he is. Their play reflects
their coach.
His attitude.
Yes. I agree. Been saying it ever since he's taken over too. Those guys fly around. They are playing hard. They love to play for them. And we see the results.
And they're not perfect, but they play hard.
Exactly.
They play hard. So, I don't know. I mean, I'll probably do another more in-depth breakdown on the game later this week. I'm very frustrated. It's probably the most frustrated I've been all season. Just all things considered, the opponent considered.
Yes.
And no disrespect to Washington, but again, when they come into a game with no Jamison Crowder, no Chris Thompson, and no Paul Richardson Jr.
It's a rival. It's a rival game for first place. Going into a bye week. I mean, nothing else should have been on your mind.
Just to get flat beat at the point of attack.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is alarming. So, again, y'all let me know. Should Jason Garrett stay or should he go?
Go. Go. Like, run fast.
Coach, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All your support and stuff for the channel. It's
anytime.
Much appreciated.
Go support him too, right here.
All right. Y'all let me know. Take care.